I've always wanted to share my story, though I don't think of myself as a writer. But I'm going to give it a try. It's early in the morning, and here I am, sitting in a pink bathrobe over a red baby doll set, with a wig for effect. My face still has remnants of last night's makeup. I had a great time out with a few friends at a welcoming bar, but that's a story for another time. My journey into crossdressing began, like many others, with innocent dress-up games with my cousin. I was about 7 years old when it first happened. It wasn't anything elaborate, just a simple dress. Neither my mother nor my aunt paid much attention, assuming it was just kids playing. Every time I visited Haley, I ended up in a dress. There was no coercion, I was happy to play her favorite game. My name, Jamie, was androgynous, so it worked no matter how I was dressed. We didn't really understand what it meant, but I remember the odd, pleasant tingling I felt when I put on a dress. It's a feeling I still get and long for. By the time I was 10, things took a turn. I was staying over at Haley's when she had a friend named Julie over. Julie was a year older and much bigger than us, and right away, she made it clear she wasn't interested in me. I didn't know why, but it felt like she wasn't too fond of boys. Still, Haley, as always, decided I was going to be one of the girls. I thought maybe Julie would like me more that way. I took off my t-shirt and accepted a dress from Haley, one I had worn before, just a simple cotton print with puff sleeves and a lace bodice that tied in the back. I still had on my shorts, which disappeared under the skirt. But with Julie there, I felt more self-conscious than ever. Julie didn't hold back in teasing me, saying I was just a boy in a dress and a big chicken. To prove I wasn't scared, she challenged me to let them dress me up like a real girl. I didn't understand what she meant by real, but Haley supported Julie. Not wanting to back down, I agreed. Little did I know, that moment would mark a significant turning point in my life. Julie went to Haley's dresser and pulled out a pair of panties and a training bra, then a pair of tights and a nylon slip. She laid them out, clearly taunting me. Haley sided with her, and I didn't want to be seen as scared. I reluctantly agreed to go through with it. Julie instructed me to drop my shorts and underwear. I felt a little embarrassed but complied. She handed me the silky nylon panties and told me to put them on. The soft feeling in my hands was a hint of what I'd feel once they were on. Despite the embarrassment of standing there without underwear, the dress covered everything, and I couldn't see my bare bottom. Julie gave me a stern look, and Haley giggled as I fumbled with the panties, unsure of which way was which. Julie impatiently took the garment from me, adjusted it, and handed it back, telling me to hurry up. My face flushed as I stepped into the leg holes, pulling the panties up. I'll never forget the sensation. One girl smirking and the other one laughing as a tiny piece of nylon emasculated me. I was made to sit on the bed as Julie rolled up the tights and applied them to my legs. The white garment caressed me and sent even more new feelings through my body. It was over now. I was no more than a toy to the two girls. Julie untied the bow on my dress, unbuttoned it, and pulled it over my head. I was told to hold out my arms, and the bra slid over my outstretched arms and onto my chest. Haley, who had taken up position behind me, giggled as she fastened the bra and cooed as she adjusted the straps. Haley giggled and Julie smirked with an evil grin as that surveyed me for what seemed like forever. I turned, and for the first time caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror on Haley's closet door. I could make out the dark blue panties through the tights. The pressure of the tights, combined with the silkiness of the panties and the new feeling of the bra, is burned into my brain. I was embarrassed standing there in girls' underwear, almost hoping that they would get on with it. At least I'd be covered up even if it was a dress. Julie matter-of-factly rolled up the slip, had me put my arms straight up and pulled the nylon garment down over my head and adjusted it. Each new garment seemed to have its own magic. I was now encased in nylon. The dress followed quickly. The dress took on new meaning now that it was fully complemented with girls' underwear. Julie made the most evil giggling as she buttoned the back of the dress and tightly tied the bow. The two were so happy with themselves. Julie was especially proud of her accomplishment, having emasculated a boy. And I figured that it was all over. Wrong again. From nowhere came a tube of lipstick, my head was forced back, and my lips were painted. I accepted it with no resistance. I realized at this point that I was really enjoying my transformation. I couldn't explain the wonderful feelings I was experiencing, but I know that I liked it, I loved it. They finished up with some blush and some eye makeup. My hair, which was long enough to pass as a girl's, was styled with a couple of barrettes, and it was finished. Julie parked me in front of the mirror so that I could admire myself. I couldn't believe what was looking back at me. If I had my way, I would have stayed there in front of that mirror forever. I didn't care anymore what they did to me. I was in love with the reflection in the mirror. I didn't care if they laughed or giggled. I was in my own little feminine world and didn't give a damn what was around me. The two dragged me sheepishly down to the kitchen to show my mother and aunt their new creation. The two ladies were pleasantly shocked when they figured out who the new little girl was. They had a good laugh, and I got a few remarks about being the girl my mother always wanted. But other than that, they didn't make much of a deal about it. It's funny 'cause now Julie was being nice to me. It's as though I was a girl now, and so was accepted. I stayed a girl the rest of the day. The only really embarrassing moments were when Haley's older brother came home and later when my uncle came home from work. But even they just made a couple of smart-ass remarks and went about their business. Jamie, the girl Jamie, was born that day and has so far lived happily ever after. I think I would get carpal tunnel trying to type all the feminine adventures I had in the years between then and now. But there is something really special about the first time that you are completely dressed. My TG friends expressed the same sentiments. I was just fortunate to have it when I was young and could pass so well. The visit to my cousin Haley's had a significant impact on me. The clothes I wore there stirred emotions I couldn't fully explain at the time. I didn't understand what those feelings were, but I knew I wanted to experience them again. Over the next few months, I managed to collect some clothes from Haley, things she didn't want anymore. One item I particularly liked was a green one-piece bathing suit. For some reason, it brought out strong emotions in me. I kept my small collection of clothes hidden in the back of my closet, dressing up whenever I had the chance. My mom often left me alone for hours, especially on weekends. During those times, I would dress up and enjoy those moments to myself, trying to act as much like a girl as I could. I thought my hiding place was safe. In my young, naive mind, no one would ever find it. But one day, I came home from school, went to my room, and was shocked to find my entire collection of clothes neatly placed on my bed. Moments later, my mom entered my room. She said, "I think we need to talk. What are these clothes doing in your closet? Where did they come from?" She stood there, hands on her hips, looking at me over her glasses. I was mortified. I didn't know how to explain myself. Before I could say anything, she demanded the truth. I knew I was caught. After a moment, I hesitated and then slowly shared the story. She knew about my visits to Haley's house but didn't realize how deeply it affected me. I explained that the clothes made me feel good, though I didn't understand why. As I confessed, the look of concern on her face began to fade. She asked me to tell her about the times I dressed up when no one was home. I explained everything as best as I could, answering her questions. When I asked if she was upset, she reassured me, though she did ask if I had ever worn any of her clothes. I told her I hadn't, as they were too big for me and not something I would wear. She could tell I was upset, so she gave me a hug. That made me feel a lot better. My mom has always been kind and understanding, and while she was upset about the sneaking around, she wasn't angry. To my surprise, she told me that if I wanted to keep the clothes, I think I had about 15 items, I should store them properly and wash them like any other clothes. She pointed out that the 2 pairs of panties I had were well worn and needed to be cleaned. The conversation shifted from confession to a lesson on how to properly care for clothes. I felt incredibly relieved and at ease talking to my mom about this. Every young man should be lucky enough to have such a wonderful mom. She also told me I could continue with my hobby, but there were some rules. One of them was not to go outside dressed like that. She also advised me to keep it to myself and be cautious when home alone, as unexpected visitors, like neighbors, could show up. I'd already had a close call before. She reassured me that I didn't need to sneak around anymore. I could dress up while she was home, but I should only do so in her presence.